Do you want to learn how to create lists or drop-downs in Excel? If yes, then we'll look at two things in this video. First, I'll teach you three methods on how to create lists. Second, I'll teach you how to allow your lists to accept values other than the ones specified in the list. If this is of interest to you, then let's begin. The data we have here is a simple orders sheet. Each time an order is placed, a line item is added. In the products column, we need to add one value of laptop, phone, or tablet. This place employs only two salespeople, Anita and Bob, so we write one of their names in column C. And finally, we add the number of units for that order. So let's take a look at the first method of creating a list. We need to create a list that displays the three products, laptop, phone, and tablet, in the cells in column B. To create a list, the first step is to select all the cells where we want the list to appear. So let's select the cells from B2 to B8. After that, we will navigate to Data menu. Now I can either click on the data validation button to launch the dialog box, or I can click on the drop down arrow next to it and click on data validation again. Here we see three tabs: settings, input message, and error alert. We will look at error alert in the second part of the video. Now in settings, we have this list for allow. Allow means what kind of input do we want to allow in the cells that we have selected. Currently it is set to any value, which means you can provide any number, any text, or any character. Instead of any value, we will select list. Now as I click on list, I get an input box called source. This is where I can provide the input to what should come in the drop down. So I will click on the select tool of the input box and select the cells F2 to F4. This means we want to display the contents in the cell F2 to F4 in our list. Press enter to display the dialog box and press OK. Our list is now ready. As you can see, I can now select a value from the list in all these cells. This method that I just showed you is the most popular method. For the sake of convenience, I have kept the values laptop, phone, and tablet on the same sheet. However, the general practice is to keep them in a different sheet within the workbook. Now let's move to the second method. We will now create a list in column C where we will display the names of the salesperson. For this, we will use defined names. If you're not familiar, you can refer my other video on defined names. In this method, the first step will be to create a defined name for all the values that we want to display in the list. Since we want to display the names of salespeople, we will select both the names and create a named range. Go to the formulas menu and click on define name. I'm going to give the name as salesperson. Now we will repeat some of the steps to create a list. Select all the cells where we want to display the list, C2 to C8 in this case. Go to the data menu and click on data validation. Under allow, select list. In source, we will write equal to salesperson. Be sure to put the equal to sign, otherwise Excel won't display the list. Press OK and the list is ready. This method will come in handy when you need to create dependent lists. If you want to learn how to create dependent lists, you can check the link for that video in the description below. Now let's look at the third method. We want to display a list of numbers in the column for quantity. Our initial steps will be the same. We will select all the cells where we want to display the list. So we will select D2 to D8. In the data menu, click on data validation. Select list under allow. And in source, we will write the numbers separated via comma. Based on experience, most people buy 1 unit, but a few customers end up buying 2 or 3 units. Therefore, we can simply type 1, 2, 3. This time we need to ensure that we don't type the equal to sign. This way it will display these values as different list items. Now, let's move to the second part, where we look at how do we allow values other than the ones in the list. There is a small risk with the third list that we have created. The values 1, 2 and 3 are based on past data. But this does not mean that users in futures won't buy more than 3 units. Let's take an example when someone buys 5 units. As I enter 5 in the cell D2, I get this error message. It says that this value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. The purpose of lists is to prevent users from entering any value of their choice, and that is what it is doing. However, what do we do if we want to give the users the flexibility to select values from the list or even enter values of their choice, like in this case? The solution is simple. Let's cancel this. I will again begin by selecting the cells where I want to make the change. D2 to D8 in this case. In the data menu, click on data validation. I will select the tab error alert. If I click on the list under style, I get 3 options: stop, warning and information. If the style is stop, then you cannot add values of your choice, as we just saw. However, with warning and information, you have the option to provide additional input. Let me select the type as information. Press OK. Now if I enter the value 5 in cell D2, I get the same message, but instead of the 2 buttons cancel and retry, I get the options of OK and cancel. In Mac, you will only get a single button OK. If I press OK, it accepts the new value. If I had clicked cancel, it would take me back to the cell to provide another input. Now the final thing, the default message is now not suitable for our scenario. We also have the option to change the message. Select the cells, go to data validation. I can now provide a customized message using the 2 text boxes. Let's do that. I will give the title as please verify your input. And in the error message, I will add the message as you have entered a non-standard quantity value. Are you sure of your input? Press OK. One final test. Randomly, in one of the cells, I will enter a value other than 1, 2 or 3. Now look at the prompt. The heading is same as what we provided and so is the message. This message is so much easier to relate and understand. If I press OK now, it will accept my input. So this is how you work with lists. There is so much more in lists. And if this is of use to you, then please check the description box, as I will add all the related videos there. If you like our content, you can support us by subscribing to our channel. Thanks for watching.